I'm here. Who else is here? I see people are in chat, or viewers are here. I don't know if chat. Ah, they're there. Hello, people. Forgive me. I was thirsty, and so I got libations. Oh, hell yeah, it beat the storm. Is there a storm? Oh, was there? Oh, that's right. There's like a tropical storm or something happening right now or something. There's something. I don't know. I think my mom posted something about it on Facebook. And so I was just like, oh, you're in Michigan. Never mind. God. No, I'm not in California. My mother's in California. Holy shit, there's a first hurricane. Wait, there's a hurricane in California. Hold on. Okay. There was tropical storm. I thought she was out traveling or something, but now I have to go look this up. Hang on. Because that's not supposed to be possible, right? Chance California breaking its rainfall. Oh yeah, no, that's not. No, that's just a big old storm. It's just too much water there. I mean, global warming. Yeah. Hey, KB. Dean catchers from Florida, apparently. Yay, you made it. Awesome. Ugh. No. The hurricanes. God, if I remember correctly, hurricanes like can't form in California or something like that, or can't form in the Pacific. I could be very wrong about that. Louisiana. Oh well, I guess you're still in hurricane country. Okay, cool. Well, looks like we got they're typhoons. That's what it is. The branding's different. Aha. Okay. Well, now that we've got thoroughly distracted with weather talk, let's just get into it as we normally do with these things. I am James Cheek. I am the English voice of Chong in Funimation's potentially Crunchyroll's English dub of Heaven Official's Blessing. And I just read Volume 5. Well, I finished Volume 5. I'd been reading it. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what happens in no particular order, and then we're going to talk about just things, you know, as the time goes by and whatever. But yes, so Volume 5. So Volume 5 picks up right as Volume 4 ended, with the Immortal brocade and Lingwen running away. And there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. Like, Tawny, if only trust something if it happens. Like, don't. There's no guarantee for anything. If you're editing, this is a perfect stream to listen to. Oh, well, glad for you. Okay, back to the book. So yeah, so it picks up with Lingwen, just completely destroying the heavenly realm, with their betrayal of everybody. We still don't know much about the brocade. Well, we learn a little bit about it this one. I can't remember. It was just, I forget who it was. There was a bit of a story, but I still didn't fully understand how it was connected to Lingwen. Or if it did, I just missed it. But yeah, so then we have baby Chong in this. As they're running around, he becomes even younger and smaller, and Xielian just absolutely dotes on him. And they like run around pretending to be like mother and son for a while, which is really fun. They end up like stumbling into like an Agatha Christie story where they're just wandering around, and then they just find their way to a murder hotel that's run by fucking Chirong. and while they're being chased by the exorcists or the monks from the end of book 4. Yeah, the "doesn't he look like my son" was super weird. Because it's like why is this guy supposed to look like you? Although there is a excuse me, there is a there's like an adage in the queer community where it's like gay men, like gay male couples tend to look like each other for some reason. And so, like, so like people assume that they're like brothers or that they're twins or something, when in reality they're two very different people. And so, like, I don't know if that was happening or what was going on. Chirong was just, no, he was not. He was murdering. He was eating people, because for some reason he's always eating people. He always has a limb. I just just as I was thinking about it now, like he's always munching on a bit of a person at some point. Chirong tried to excuse himself in the plot, but plot said no. Yes, true. That was actually something that I really realized with this book, is that like Shalian's oh hey, no, thank you for gifting subs, even though I don't stream hardly at all anymore. Like, this is kind of all I do. I appreciate you gifting the stuff, but like it's not a valuable investment, I would say. But yeah, I know I can't stop you. That's why I'm not doing shit. But it's just like just a heads up to anyone who has a subscription here. There's not. I'm not doing anything anymore, really. I'm too busy. But yeah, but no. But Shalian's like bad luck is kind of what keeps, not necessarily what keeps the plot moving forward, but what keeps all the random fucking people showing up, because everyone is connected to Shelian. Like every player in this pretty much is connected to Shelian directly or indirectly. Except for in book 4 with the whole Blackwater arc, that really didn't have anything to do with him. He just was like, my friend's in trouble. But yeah, like just so many people. Like, I was reading this and I was just like, man, if we ever get here and if we're dubbing it, this is gonna be really fucking annoying for production, because we're gonna have to bring back like people, who were cast as these characters years ago. Like fucking oh god, like the general from the Banyue arc, and just all the and just so many different people start showing up, and then the fucking, like, that's the thing with like with season 2, Peishu, hello person, Awakasu, I don't know what's that's supposed to be pronounced. Lil Pei. Oh yeah, Lil Pei shows back up after having to sort of like fucked off for a while. He just, yeah, like, they just, so many people just appear. Fucking Banyue just shows up having like popped out of the fucking pickle jar again. And I mean, I'd hope that we would, like, I would, I've said this like a million times, I think, by now, but I strongly suspect that we will do it, but I can't, there's no guarantee for anything. So like, that's why I keep like always kind of putting an asterisk next to that, is like, there's no guarantee that we will work on it, unless it actually happens. But yeah, so god, ADD is just kicking my ass. But yeah, so there's the murder hotel, where there's just a murder hotel, and then they run into the ghost from the mother of the demon aborted baby, who is also the person in that one random scene in book 2 with Cuckoo, is how you say that? Junlan, yes. Yeah, her. And like, and then we get a little bit more about her, where she's like she's like Fang Xin's like ex-fiance or something. How long does it take on average to dub a 12 episode season? It's usually an episode a week, so it's 12 weeks. Suotsuo. Oh, okay, Suotsuo. Or Suotsuo. Ah, God. Tongue twister, Suotsuo. Yeah, she's the one that Shillian told you can't. Yes. Feng Xin's, baby mama, which that raises a bunch of fucking questions, because it was like we learned that they were connected, which explains why he had the divine flower prince protection charm in like his weird baby ghost realm back in fucking book 3. But it just begs a bunch of questions as to like what the fuck happened, when the fuck this happened, just so many different things. I think she does say that he's impotent, as a way to like discredit him as being the father. I don't fully remember, because that was also a very kind of random scene. But yeah, this was like a Scooby Doo menagerie of bad guys just show up out of nowhere. Because I forgot that most of them are ghosts. I forgot that most of them are dead already, and so it makes sense that they would all be going to Mount Tonglu. But you know, it just was. I was not expecting to see so many different people. Hello, far away. We'll get more answers in volume 6. Okay, well that's good. But yeah, so they meet baby mama, and then Feng Xin shows up because he's trying to like escort her away, and then not Feng Xin shows up and interrupts things, and there's just sort of like a moment where like people are angry, and then they realize some things, and then they go about their day. Like it was very weird, and I don't know what the payoff's gonna be for that. But then fucking Junwoo shows up. Fucking the big fuck off bastard man. You know that just he's just, you know, the man himself, Daddy Jun. Yeah, like he just shows up and is like, oh hey, I'm in the middle of doing a thing, and like just manipulates Shelian into going to Mount Tonglu. And then Hua Sheng, of course, is going with him, and then they go to Mount Tonglu, and then it's just like and then the weirdest shit happens in Mount Tonglu. They fucking ride in a giant mountain mecha kaiju thing. Like they're just traveling in a fucking mountain. And I thought like giant robot punch from book 3 was kind of pushing it for like how weird this book was gonna go, and then all of a sudden they're in a fucking mountain just traveling. It was very Critical Role. You know, like it was very big fuck off bastard man. Yeah. But it gets weirder. Jesus. Oh my god. How does it get weirder? Like I'm also like, is it just a mountain that's like sliding on the ground, or is like when it's moving it has some type of shape? Hello, Pepsi. I mean, I'm looking forward to more weird. But it's also like just what the fuck? I was not expecting that. But then like this one was really like we're getting into like an even like heavier Scooby Doo mystery in this book, or Scooby Doo adventure, because like the first arc with the brides was a very Scooby Doo-esque thing, but it was like early Scooby Doo. This is like what's new Scooby Doo level, where there are a bunch of guest stars showing up, and more kaiju shit. Oh, that's gonna be so delightfully weird. But like just so many different like fucking like all the Old Man Jenkinses show up, And then there's now like this illusion that there's a conspiracy that everything that has happened to Xialian at this point, um, like is a part of a way to like groom him as like to have him live the life as this other prince did in the place that was destroyed, that clearly has some connection to Junwoo because they reference him. um you know, and then all of a sudden and the fucking preceptor shows up. The fucking preceptor, like, you know, and he's like, he didn't even have a goddamn name, and he's here, and just like, what the fuck? Like, just my god, it's just fucking everybody, just fucking everybody. Everybody is here. Everybody is here. Everybody is partying. Even fucking oh, what's his name? Yin Yu, the Hua Chang's like right hand, who is so plain looking that he just sort of dissolves into a crowd. Um, Men Yanqing. Yeah, I've heard people have told me his name, but like, uh, but but he like he's just called the preceptor. Like, he was just called the state preceptor the whole time. So just he was always called, you know, he was referred to as state preceptor. Like, no one referred to him as by name. Um, but yeah, Yin Yu is the other like martial deity of the West or something. He was he was he was like the other guy with Idiot Fighter Man. Got roasted. Yeah, Shilian's also really like catty in this one. Yi Chen, thank you. Yeah, Yi Chen? Am I saying that right? Or Yeats? Oh, God. I swear, I have to say these things. So, for those in chat who don't know, currently one of the shows that I'm writing for Crunchyroll is the second season of Link Click. So I have to say a good number of Mandarin words and names and stuff, just sort of on the double or on the daily. But like, I'm just fucking forgetting how to say the things here. If you're right for the show and continue to write for the show, please scribble like mad on top. Scribble. Fucking everyone is here. There is a place where I could write that. If I do write the show, there is like a little notes margin, but producers sometimes see scripts, so they don't like us leaving those kinds of notes. Like, sometimes licensors will like look at them and approve stuff or things like that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he's so plain it has to be a disguise. No one is that boring, and he's just like, no, it's just him. I mean, no one. You're not even gonna see it. I could just lie and say that I wrote that in there. I did write Pocket Sand in an episode of Link Click. It's just a joke to everybody. There's a little side. There's a note where someone throws sand and it's just Pocket Sand. There's actually another funny story about something like that, where the other show I'm writing is My Tiny Senpai, and Mark Allen Jr. is the lead in that show, is the male lead, and there's a voice actor who passed this week. No, I didn't. God of Door Hinges. I did not write on season 1. I was not writing. I was not a writer for Funimation or Crunchyroll at the time that was happening. Dale Gribble. Yes, he did pass away recently. The actor who played Dale Gribble. Very sad. But Mark Allen Jr. is the lead in My Tiny Senpai. And for those in chat who don't know, I don't know if Mark Allen Jr. has a pre-recording ritual that he always does, where he brings he gets a Mountain Dew Baja Blast, a large Mountain Dew Baja Blast from Taco Bell, and he has that with him when he records, and it's just a thing that he does. Yes, he just Mountain Dew. And he's, it's just, it's fun, and he gets teased for it occasionally, but it's more of just sort of like, why are you drinking Mountain Dew? And then he has an answer for it, and it's his thing. It's his thing. And if we ever see a Mountain Dew Baja Blast from Taco Bell at Crunchyroll, we know that Mark Allen Jr. has been here. And so there was a line that his character said in an episode where it was too much sugar is bad for you. And so, excuse me, I shouldn't have something carbonated, and so I, in the little notes margin, had to leave a note that was just, this is really funny coming from the man who undoubtedly has a Mountain Dew Baja Blast with him right now. And then when they recorded that line, they deleted my note and then wrote over it something to the effect of like, "How dare you?" It's so that we had a little back and forth. It was fun. Little nice fun ribbing. But yeah, but that was kind of the big thing. I mean, I just blazed through the description, but I'm assuming everybody is in chat or is going to watch this has already read the book. So I'm not going to get too deep into the plot, as I normally don't really get that deep into the plots. Also, I didn't take notes this time. I was just reading it as I went along. So so my memory of what happened is also kind of spotty. But just that it just sort of leads into this weird conspiracy, and they keep finding murals that replicate that are reflexive of Xielian's history with this prince of the kingdom that used to be centered around Mount Tonglu, and that this kingdom is somehow connected to, like, the fall of this kingdom is somehow connected to the cycle of the mountain opening up and all the ghosts and like the ghost kings that keep coming out of it. Let's see, I read all the books like 2 years ago and I have vague memories of the whole thing. It's like a fever dream where many pretty gay men are sad. Yes, that's pretty much how it is. And which, like, the timeline for that kind of doesn't. I forget, how often does Mount Tonglu open up? Because I thought it was every 100 years, but it seems to be a lot less frequent than that. Is it like every 500 years or something? Because there was if I had to sip anything carbonated. Nice. But Junwoo and Toji from Jujutsu Kaisen share the same Japanese VA. I don't remember who Toji is from Jujutsu Kaisen. Yes, Evil Daddy. But yeah, just anyone in chat, if you can remember how often the Megumi's dead. Again, I don't remember enough of Jujutsu Kaisen to know the characters' names. I just remember that there's a panda, and the chick is and like the chick in the Trinity has a hammer and nails, and she's actually cool, and doesn't just stand around being in love with the other two men. Every few hundred years, okay. 500 years for the opening of the mountain. Okay, so it's like 500 years. Okay. Every few hundred... it's from the fan webs. A fantasy which happens every few hundred years and grants ghosts the opportunity to become supreme as a ghost with the highest rank. Okay. So it's every couple of hundred years. So is it just that, like, a bunch of the bunch of ghosts ends up, like, killing each other or don't survive the process? Because Hua-Chang is panda is a panda, yes. But because Hua-Chang is like 800 years old, and then Blackwater is younger than him as far as being a supreme. It's survival of the fittest type situation. Yeah, I got that. It's a very like oh Christ, what is that? What was that? It was the thing. Battle Royale. It was very Battle Royale. Blackwater's 400. Yes. Yeah, they're drawn there. Yes, I understand that they're all drawn there, and then they have to survive the kiln itself. Yeah. Okay. So like they say, but like the thing is that there's only four supremes. Well, technically there's only three because Tirong is just annoying. He's an almost supreme. But there's only three supremes, which would be like 1,500 years. But the country fell. What was it, like 1,600 years or something like that? So it's older than it's older than Jun. No, it's like 2,000 years or something. It's like 2,600. It's because it was because Junwoo is like 1,600. Um, and then like it's supposed to be older because when they're talking about how old the kingdom was, they were referencing Junwoo because they were talking about how just like pantheon shift, and how that, like, just old gods die after a certain point in time where they lose followers and then just sort of go away. um the heaven officials also put effort in preventing the gathering of the ghosts. Oh yeah, that's right. Because that's Junwoo's whole thing, was that he was gonna that like they couldn't send people because the heavens were in disarray, so he was gonna go himself. And then and then he was like, either like, I want you to run heaven while I'm away. And then Xielian's just like, no, I'll go and I'll fight things, because that's what I do. I go and I fight things. So like the timeline of like when the nation fell, and then like the Supremes showing up, and then all of this, like, it just, the timeline of this conspiracy is confusing to me, because it seems to be, I'm assuming Junwoo is manipulating, is behind all of this. Like, I've said this for a while, that I figured Junwoo was bad, that he was the main bad guy. And yeah, Daddy Jun was, yeah, hence his return, right? Yeah, like, he just, figure he's a part of everything. But then with the introduction of this conspiracy, then it's like, okay, well, then how does Junwoo tie into the fall of this nation? Is he the prince? Because they say that, like, they suggest that, but then they're like, well, no, because he's not old enough to be the prince. So then it's like, well, what the fucking hell? I don't know. I guess people keep saying that, like, there's a lot of answers in book 6, so I guess most of this will be covered in book 6. Is meant to be confusing because you're missing some key pieces. Yes, no, I have learned that the story of Heaven Official's Blessing is a pyramid. That you're just walking around and you're slowly ascending, and then all the answers are at the top, and you're just sort of slowly learning all the bits of the story as you do this very sort of this obtuse walk around the pyramid. Everything except one important thing is answered. Okay, cool. Yeah, because I'm teammate. Like, I did sort of assume that that's her writing style, or maybe it's be the style of writing of these kinds of stories. It just sort of happens that way, where it's just so many things are already happening, that that it's just mostly the story is not so much people affecting the plot, but the people's reaction to the plot when it gets revealed that what's going on. The thing that the answer that's in book 6 is something you care about, but not most other people do. Kristen, Cheese Chef is like when you have a box of beads and they all fall on the floor and you gotta try and get all the pieces. It was so hard, it takes so long. Yeah, it's kind of like that. I'm so salty. It's like 2 million words, and she couldn't fit in the one thing I wanted answered. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so that was book 5. Certainly, this book certainly like like that was I've commented on like the sort of pacing of the other books where it's like it starts off where like nothing is happening, and then things start kind of happening, but then they stop happening, and then now like a lot's happening, but it's still that because our characters the are the thing that's being manipulated, not a part of the like thing, not a part of the driving force of the narrative. We don't really know what's going on, and so it's just very weird and confusing, and a bunch of shit's just happening, and say this made me so mad about is the two main manipulators of the entire plot are barely present. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's kind of happening if Junwoo ends up being the bad, which I'm pretty sure he ends up being the big bad. He's barely in the story at all. Like he just shows up in book 2 being menacing, and then he's shown up here being menacing. And so yeah, so it is. So there was just a lot that happened. It was just a lot of like movement towards a goal. A lot of like revelations on things that you didn't really expect to get revelations on, like learning about Pei Ming. This was a lot of like Pei Ming revelations in this book, which I didn't think that he was going to be at all important. I thought he was just going to be a guy that they just made fun of all the time for being a man whore. But spoiler tag it in Discord, yes. But it was but yeah, it was so like, you know, like learning about him, learning about his sword, learning about his backstory, which I don't know how that ties into anything. I want to know the fuck happened to Windmaster. Because they said that Blackwater is probably hibernating right now, so he's not doing anything at this point, so he's not like showing up, but he just fucked off with Windmaster. That I'm just like, what happened to him? Pei Ming is Pei Ming is he's just a himbo. He's just a big old himbo. And then like the bride ghost, I can't remember her name, but yeah, she's back and she's crazy again. Xuanji, yes, thank you. Yeah, I read her name, and like my brain immediately went to Wendy Lee going Xuanji. And I giggled because I found out this recently, but like Wendy Lee was in a video game series called Fear Effect. She was in Fear Effect 2, and in that game is sort of a Resident Evil clone, but it pulls from Chinese mythology and horror and things like that, and so she's had to say Mandarin names before, and so the fact that it was just like so, you know, like just how she said it was so pronounced and how in the way she did it, I thought it was really funny, and it surprised me that she had, you know, sort of not it was not her first pass at that language. He went from an asshole in the beginning to awesome in Mount Tonglu. I don't know if he was awesome. He was just kind of an idiot. Like he was a damsel almost in this, because he kept getting into situations where he was it's only bad because Howard says it right after. True. Yeah, juxtaposition of that line was really like not ideal. It was really just you know, someone who a Mandarin speaker versus someone who isn't a Mandarin speaker. Wendy Lee's amazing in person. That's cool. I've never met her, but that's really cool. But yeah, Pei Ming's just kind of a damsel in this one. And he just, because the sword is like his sword comes, but well, it's not his sword. It's his right hand man, whose soul possessed his sword, which I would have been more weirdly enough, I would have been more confused about that had um had I not already watched the Untamed, because they have that moment um in both the Untamed and the Modao Donghua, um where they're at La Wanji's place, home, and they have like exorcist class, and he's, you know, Wei Wuxian is falling asleep in class, and he has the whole thing where he explains like what would turn into what depending on the like what like died, or the kind of like evil energy or something like that that it absorbed. And so the sword like being possessed by the vengeful soul of his right hand and then turning into a monster, it makes sense to me, which I don't think I would have. It would not have been. It made any sort of intuitive sense had I not already seen that. Let's see. English alien is just canonically that one asshole going to all the other characters, Hoarder, Croissant, like croissant. Yeah, croissant. Pretty much. Yeah, like that's very true. Um, you know, and it's really funny that Howard got cast as that character, because you know, because there wasn't any in Xialian's sides, there weren't any Mandarin names, or Mandarin like phrases, I don't think. So the producers wouldn't, or not the producers, the licensors, like Billy wouldn't have known he had that ability, or that he had the skill to speak Mandarin. Um, so you know, it's just sort of a really, it's wonderful, but it's just a very funny twist of fate. Um, oh no, Howard's not going to change anything. I wouldn't change anything for. I love Howard's Xialian. Weirdly enough, I think he's pretty. I think he's very book accurate with his Xialian, because he has this bite. Howard has this bite to some of the things that he says, where he, you know, like he's sort of polite and demure, but then he'll just like say something that's just really fucking catty, and so much of Xialian's internal monologue is very catty, and so I'm very like, especially like when in the first season when we're in the cart and we're just flirting, like that's very book accurate Xialian, in my opinion. You swear you're not biased. Um, up the MXTX up the caddy. Yeah, very true. Um, but so Pei Ming's a damsel. And he just keeps getting his ass kicked. Well, this he just a bunch of his past comes to bite him in this, and I think it's one of the reasons why he's a lot easier to like. He's more empathetic, is that he's just getting his ass handed to him because he fucked up hundreds of years ago, pretty much, and just all of his mistakes are coming back to haunt him in this book. Um, and so like it was pretty funny to see the fact that the one time he was like, oh, you're General Xuanzhen, uh so it really does sound like he's actually correcting her. Oh yeah, do you mean, oh yeah, with Howard's thing, that's very true. It's the epitome of saying you don't know the violence it took to be this kind. Very, yes, very, very true. The consequences of thinking with the wrong head. Haha, very true. But yeah, but oh god, what is the name of the child of the person that Chirong has possessed? Because just this precious little Guzi. Thank you. He's just Guzi. Yeah, he is just this precious little bean, and I just feel so bad for him, um, in just the fact that he is just aggressively does not believe that his father is pretty much dead and that has been possessed by this just prick. I think it's ironic that the Hankasaro, most of the characters are Chinese coded, and Howard gets the ginger Ed Sheeran looking ass guy. That is true. But yeah, and then like the fact that he's he's like massage chopping his dad's legs and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't even know if that would feel good because he's just a tiny baby. Guzzi is the world's best dad. That's very true. And I don't spoil this for me, but like I'm hoping that they get Chirong out of his dad's body so they can just like he can go off and be happy and not have to deal with this fucker anymore. Because like, yeah, dad eating arms isn't good for like eating people isn't good for you. Like he's just so precious. To get the accidental baby acquisition trope. Yeah, it's true. He like, and I think what's really funny too is the fact that like the only reason why like he keeps him around is because he's at that age where he just sort of worships his dad and he thinks his dad's the greatest person in the world. And so the fact that like he can just say or do whatever and this kid will like believe him in earnest is very sad when you think about it, but it's also funny. Wouldn't be so broke if I got paid to babysit. Very true. Well, he technically did get paid to babysit because Yi Ching kept smuggling gold into his offering coffer. Because of all the work that he did, so he technically got paid. He should have money now, actually. Like he should have a decent chunk of money because that was a lot of gold that he like is now just somewhere. I forget where it ended up, but like he has unless it's been stolen or something, he has a lot of money now. He can babysit as long as he doesn't try to cook. Yeah, I think it is interesting that like I think what was the funny cooking thing in this one was the fact that like Xialian was like, oh yeah, Banyue, like you caught this thing, well I'll show you how to cook it, and like the book narration goes out of the way of saying like he's never like dressed or cooked that thing before, so neither of them know what they're doing. Yes, sugar. John Yiqian, playing Shilian to babysit himself. Pretty much, yeah. This is sort of what's happening here. Let's see. Hua Cheng ate his food as Lan Yang. Shilian thought someone else could eat his cook. Oh yeah, that's true. He was excited about that, and then it just turned out that it was Hua Cheng. And you know, of course, Hua Cheng is never going to admit if it's bad or not. He's just gonna enjoy it. The oh god, what was it, like the Chastity Balls or something from book 3 like carried over into this, where the monks were like drinking all the water because he made up a remedy to cure yourself of the balls or something. Actually enjoys the food, or if he actually just won't say anything. Yes, I think is the answer to that question. I think he enjoys it because it's something that Xielian made, and that like, you know, that he in earnest enjoys anything that man does, but then also he would never say anything if it was gross. He would never say anything that would make Xielian look at all bad. You know, Xielian does that enough for himself. Incorruptible Chastity meatballs. Yes, that's right. He's probably eaten worse in Ghost City. That's true. He does. It was book 3 where they go on their date, and he like keeps telling him to avoid all of these like food stalls, which was funny. Having Bugs Bunny energy in this book. Yeah, he kind of does. I think actually I thought that when you say that sound that like sort of connection sounds familiar to me. Green Day, where he's, where especially when they're when they're running from the monks, and he or exorcists or whatever they are, and they like run into the clothes shop, and they just like, and they're hiding in the dressing room, and then he like does the thing where the guy walks in, and then he pretends to be like caught mid dress and is offended. And it was very slapstick, very, very slapstick. I guess to put his balls in people's mouths. he threw them. He threw them in people's mouths, if I remember correctly. The cultivator is totally Elmer Fudd. Very much so. God, what is his name? Like Thousand Eyes or something? He's very Elmer Fudd. Yes, he's hiding his tits from the world. I mean, he does have baby making hips, not canonically, but like my favorite versions of these characters are monster boyfriend Hua Cheng with pointy ears, and then like baby making hips Xielian, because that just makes perfect sense to me. And yeah, and Star Ember. Yes, that's definitely her interpretation. Heaven's Eye, that's his name, Heaven's Eye. But yeah, he is very Elmer Fudd in the way he goes about doing stuff. It's what Xielian would want. Very true. So it's what he deserves. Yes, it's the man that we deserved. Okay, well, he also, yeah, that is true, because Hua Chong's always putting his arm around his waist. Like that that's kind of like his go-to grab spot for Xielian is his waist. He's always like, to stabilize him or to pull him safe or something. He's always just grabbing him around the waist. But yeah, so that was book 5. That was who knows what his hips are for. Yes. It was certainly fun. It was a very fun read. And then the introduction of the conspiracy, I thought was frustrating, not in a negative way, like in more of a oh, okay, so everything's been important up until now, but but I don't know the context. I don't know how it connects, so it all still feels random. Like I know that, like, okay, well, everything's important, but everything can't be important. So what are the important things and what aren't the important things? And I mean, it's probably gonna be like every fucking thing is important. What is my favorite book so far? I don't know. I don't have a favorite so far. I think part of it is that how the English releases are breaking up the story. They're logical stopping points, but they are not the end of what's going on. So it doesn't necessarily feel like it feels like they're stopping in the middle of something all the time. So it doesn't feel like a fully complete thing. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, like, if this was like 300 to 400 pages is a pretty decently sized book for that Americans tend to read, because like Jesus, because like if we went with like the Chinese release of the books, it'd be like 800 to 1,000. Those are like like late stage Harry Potter books, like they and those got that way because they were just so incredibly popular that people didn't care how long they were. They broke them up by publishing costs. Ah, I see. After a certain number of pages, it doubles the cost of it. That makes perfect sense. It's usually a practical choice for those kinds of things. When you sort of dive into like the reasons why, it's like it usually comes down to money or time or the lack or abundance thereof for either. So yeah, no, that makes sense. Also, they would make more money on more books, I would imagine. So like cost effective, you just get it to like that number. It also just seems that the writing, because based on what the lovely chat is saying, most plot threads are left hanging or waiting to be tied up in the last book. Yeah, that's kind of how they all end. Is they all end not necessarily in a cliffhanger, but just sort of like in the middle of something. Never go over 450 pages if possible. Any thoughts on the Quan Yi Chen Yin Yu backstory? It was interesting. In that it was like this was kind of like one of that story is sort of is an example of just a genuine mistake, where it wasn't anyone any one person's fault, or it wasn't any like one person didn't make a bad decision and then we're just sort of seeing the end result of those bad decisions. It was just these two people who had this unresolved rivalry tension, that just, that one person actively decided to make a mistake and like, or actively try and screw the other person over, and it just sort of made Yin Yu's life worse. Like, he didn't do anything wrong, he just got caught up in a thing that happened. The jealous asshole disciple, yeah, he comes up. I kept trying to remember if like he'd been introduced before, like if he was someone, if he was someone who had appeared in a previous book, but no, he just is fucking there. Has season 2 of the English dub been confirmed yet? No. Season 2 of the show has been confirmed. It was confirmed 3 years ago. The English dub has not been announced. So, this Silent Side. Oh yeah, it's just this long. It's long now. And I play with my hair all the time, so it just sort of ends up, half the time it's like behind me and half the time it's right here. Just leave your baby alone. But yeah, so it was interesting. I still correct me if I'm wrong, but don't we learn who? No, we learned whose spirit is in the Immortal brocade, like the ghost that kind of makes the Immortal brocade the Immortal brocade. But do we know that person's backstory? Like, do we know more about who they are outside of, just outside of the fact that Ling Wen supposedly manipulated them into? We will. Okay. So it hasn't been answered yet. Because I still don't know who the fuck that is. Still don't know who. Like, my current theory is that person was the person with the king's aura from book 3, like the sort of counterpoint to Xielian, from the invading army. But that's, I think, just mainly because that person was introduced. He's clearly important, has some sort of like end game connection, or just some sort of connection to something, and he hasn't come back yet. So I'm assuming that's how he gets involved in the story again. Ah, yes, ha 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 ha. Well, clearly there's some shit going on. But yeah, so there's not a lot of mystery, not a lot of answers either. This is more of like, this book was more questions. There's a lot of different questions being raised, and a lot of, like I said, all the old man Jenkinses coming back to cause trouble. I did like the yes, the brocade was a part of the Zhuli army, and he was in love with Ling Wen, who then manipulated him into putting on the robe thing that killed him. His name is Ba Cheng. We learned that in book 3, but I felt like that wasn't the full story. Not book 3, book 4. But Bai Cheng. But there's more info on him in the revised version, but they don't explain. Oh, okay. I assumed that there was more to a story than that, because like it didn't make sense. Because like Ling Wen manipulating him felt like there was a lot more to that story. Like that it wasn't necessarily Ling Wen manipulating. It was like the manipulation assumption was like a sexist thing that got put on top of it because Lingwen has to deal with that shit. Um, oh, you think that that's the full story? Oh, okay. Well, that's disappointing. Um, Genuinely thought there was more stuff going on there. Sometimes people are just bitches. Nah, true, 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 true. Okay, well, let's see. We are coming up on an hour. So I'm going to get to some final thoughts, and then we'll move on, and then I'll make and then I'll make the special announcement that people kept speculating on. Um, but yes, so I like book five. It was definitely a more exciting read than the other books so far. I'm looking forward to book six because people keep saying that there's answers, and also people keep saying how much they cry. Um, and so that'll be something to that'll be an experience. Um, and of course, as always, I will be auctioning off a signed copy of book five. I'll have that set up probably tomorrow. Um, where you guys can where I'll have that eBay up and you guys can start bidding for it. And the proceeds will be going to Equality Texas, like the last book. So all proceeds from the auction will go to that charity. Um, but as an added little bonus surprise, people were like, I probably should have worded it a little bit differently because it's not nearly as exciting as what people were assuming because of just it's so close to the season 2 announcement. But so I don't know how this happened, but I ended up getting an extra copy of volume 6. And so what I've decided to do with it is I'm going to raffle a signed version of this off at the convention this weekend, Dallas Comic Show here in Louisville. And the proceeds from that will go to the Maui Food Bank. So for anyone in chat who's going to be there, just know that that this is going to be something that you can do. If you guys were thinking about coming, then this is another excuse for you to show up. If you can, obviously, don't travel across the world or something. But yeah, that was I was announcing that here, so it'll be something to look forward to. You'll be there, awesome. So it'll be I'll announce, like, the raffle will happen on Saturday. Or the raffle happen. I think the raffle's only going to be on Saturday because I think I'm going to be announcing it during the Q&A, and the Q&A is on Saturday. Well, it's not the one spelled that way. That's Louisville. That's in Kentucky. Louisville is in Texas. Yes. So volume 6, and then auctioning off volume 5 as per usual. Hopefully I will have this review discussion up in the next couple of days. I don't want to put it off for 6 months like I did volume 4. I apologize for that. When does my shop close? Oh yes, thank you for reminding me. And just as a reminder for everyone, the shop closes on the 27th, at the end of day on the 27th. So after the convention's over, is when I'll be closing my shop again for a good while, probably. I may open it up again just because of season 2. I didn't realize that season 2 was. I would have probably waited a bit more if I'd probably waited for season 2 to happen before if I'd known. The Danish person named Tanya. Oh yes. You bought some prints. I assumed as much. But yeah, I may at the end by when season 2 ends or something like that, I may open it up again for people who like either weren't able to get all of them this time or something like that. I'm also let's see, finally no longer broken back to simping. But yeah, also I'm yeah, there may be some other stuff available. I don't know. Who knows? Um, don't take that as an announcement or anything. That's just sort of something rattling in my brain at this point. Um, it's on like yes, no. Oh gosh, the artist's name. The Twitter handle's like curves, like KRRVS or something. But her work is absolutely beautiful. But yeah, that's when the store will close is on the 27th. So you've got 4 more days left to get prints. Um, and I will be reminding everybody daily as that goes on. Um, and had to get the new print. Well, I don't think any of them are new. They're just all very pretty. But yeah, and then I will be doing a signing stream, probably like a week or so after it's closed, so I have enough time to get like envelope, like mailers and everything all set up. Is there an option for personalization? Yes. There when you order the print, there is an option for personalization. There's this little box that you fill out whatever you want. And I'll I'll write down pretty much most everything that you want. But yeah, so that was book 5. That was the special news. And for those who will be coming to the Dallas Comic Show on Saturday, I will see you guys in a few days. And until then, I guess we all just have to wait patiently until season 2 drops in October. Which I love the fact that it's the spooky month, that we're going to be going back to. We're going to get to see Ghost City. Is there anything else I needed or wanted to say? No, not really. So awesome. All right. Well, I pray for. Oh well, thank you. Yeah, I would love to write season 2. Are we gonna do watch parties for season 2? Probably, more than likely. I have some ideas that I'm rattling around for something like that. So give the eclairs. Yes, all the eclairs. So yes, use offerings of eclairs. That'll get it done. Photos this weekend? Yes, I will be offering photos. I'll be doing my normal con stuff at the convention. So we asked a quote. Will you also sign your name too? Yes. If you asked me to sign my name and a quote, then I'll do that. Well, I sign everything with my name. So if you just ask for a quote, you'll get a quote and the signature. I won't just write the signature. Or I won't just write the quote. Yes, all the cream-filled offerings, all the Long Johnsons. But yeah, so we should all. Oh, good lord! If you guys are gonna bring me a bunch of eclairs at the con, that'll be really funny. That'll be really, really, really funny. I'm not encouraging anything, but God, I love a good bit, and that's a very good bit. With you and Howie in bed watching Chilean cosplays. Oh dear God. Now I have to come to the con just for that. Oh God, yeah, no, that'd be funny. I know you used basic bitch oatmeal soda. That's what you did. Which was thematically appropriate, I think. I think Chilean would very much be a pumpkin spice girl. So yeah, that totally makes sense. But yeah, okay. Well, I guess I'll see those who I will see, and for those who I don't, be good. All that other good stuff. If you see a package of eclairs from the UK, Jesus Christ, don't send me stuff from the UK. That's gonna be so expensive. But yeah, all right. Well, I will see you guys around. So goodbye.